Of course, you know that is Radiohead. They're there. Hail to the Thief is released on June the 9th at last. It's album number 6 for Radiohead. And once again, the world holds its breath to see how far the Oxford Boys can continue to push the musical envelope. Online shenanigans have prompted the usual bout of verbal fisticuffs between band and pirates and so on. Just finished a mini UK tour between watching reruns of Columbo and tuning into Des and Mel. We welcome Radiohead's musical spine, Phil, Ed and Colin. Lovely to have you here. Just been catching up on the well, how was your mini tour then? How did it go? Everyone's been emailing saying how much they enjoyed it and how magical it was. Did you enjoy it?
Same for us, really.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, lovely venues. We started off in Dublin, ending up in Shepherd's Bush on Saturday. So, great venues, really good audiences.
Yeah.
And we'd learnt to play the new songs by the end of it as well, so...
Were you a bit rusty at the beginning then?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's why you start off in Dublin, because, you know, it's...
Well, they're far more forgiving.
Well, yeah, and after 2 shows, like, yeah, we can do this, and you hit Belfast, you do a really crap show, and it's like, okay, that's a reality check. So,
right.
yeah, it is at first, because you know, we've now got, like, 60 songs we can potentially play. So you
potentially.
Potentially.
I know there's something I want to talk to you about in a minute, actually, about sort of changing the set and stuff like that. But quickly, lots of people have asked, Phil, if you enjoyed Tom's Happy Birthday tribute to you at Manchester.
Oh, that was marvellous.
What did he do? Someone said that he'd said Happy Birthday a lot and cut it up.
Well, yes, because it was in Everything Its Right Place, which Johnny... Oh, was it the Gloaming?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I know our
You were
set.
busy concentrating on something else.
But it's one of the songs where, you know, Johnny will sample a voice or Ed will sample a voice, and Tom had said it, Happy Birthday, Phil, and then it just carried on going through the song. And then the whole audience joined in and sang me Happy Birthday.
Oh, fantastic.
Touching moment. That was great.
Did you get a tear in your eye?
I think that was the smoke on stage, actually.
It was the sweat. And I hear, Ed, that you managed to get yourself into trouble up in Edinburgh by giving away the score.
Oh, yes.
The Celtic game.
Well, I thought that... yeah.
You see, you think people want to know, but they're taping it. They don't want to know these things.
No one wants to know. I thought, you know, I kind of... I've always hoped that we might, you know, Radiohead we're not kind of like a terrorist band, so to speak. And I like football. And I've always hoped that, you know, there might be a few people in the audience who would like... And it kind of, I announced the score and everyone's like... Get on with it, you know. So
people standing going, no more.
Yeah, no more. Don't want to know.
Not
interested.
Now you've done different sets, I know, on different nights. When is it exactly? Do you decide to change your set? How do you decide to change it? Why do you decide to? I mean, do you all go back into the dressing room afterwards and go, do you know what? Tomorrow I fancy playing this, or I fancy playing that, or is it?
It's over lunch.
Is it?
It's over lunch of that day. Yeah.
Right.
It's basically just see what you feel like the next bit. What you feel like doing that evening.
Yeah.
So it's not really anything. It's very mundane actually. It's well, fake plastic. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. You know, it's very. Right. It's not kind of like we were really inspired by it. That was a very powerful rendition of Exit music. Let's do it again. It's very kind of, nah, I don't want to do that. So it's whatever sort of tickles our fancy.
I think a lot of fans have been saying that it's good though that you get different songs, because obviously people hear about set lists and fans talk to each other, and I think it's quite nice that you turn up and you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it keeps everyone on their toes. You know, I remember and I'm not dissing anyone in any way in this. I remember when we went to see U2 on the Pop Mart tour. You know, they had the whole production and everything. And we were asking, you know, what songs, what's the set list, and someone pulls out a laminate, and says, this is the song, these are the songs.
Right, so they're literally going to follow it.
Because of that kind of scaled production, because you had to do that with Gyrating Lemons or whatever, you had to, you know, you have to do that, and they had, in order to change their set list, I think Bono was saying that it took 10 days to, like, you know, you have to give 10 shows advance notice.
That's quite serious stuff.
Yeah.
I can't see that happening with you.
No, not yet.
Just because of the Gyrating Lemons as well. Yeah. Kay, we've got lots of questions from me and lots of questions from fans, because there's so many people out there who want to ask you questions. Kay asks if you all have a favourite track to perform when you're touring. Blank Faces. I can come back to that if you want to think about that. I could come back to that a little bit later on, if not. And the tracks that are more... Yeah, there are Blank Faces at the moment.
It's for trickier ones, actually. And when you actually finally get your head around how to play them, like Gloaming.
Right.
Which I do know. I can't actually remember playing now.
And so now you do really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that, you know, the fact that you have it there on the record and you just go into rehearsal thinking, how the hell are we going to manage that? And then suddenly something comes together and You feel as though you've achieved something.
Excellent. Now, let's go back to the early days of Helter Thief. How does the writing process work with you guys? Does Tom go away and write the lyrics, come back with some kind of tune? You know, when do you all get involved? Who gets involved where? Because lots of fans want to know what way you do it, or which way you did this album.
What he did was he sent us, there were 3 CDs of everything from, like, the one CD was pure sort of electronic stuff he'd done on his laptop through to renditions of songs of the last 3 years that we were aware of on acoustic guitar or piano. And when we got back together, it was like, well, what songs, you know, and we lived with them for about 2 months, what songs does everyone like? So we went through that, and then we basically started rehearsing them, and that's when the songs sort of stopped being Tom York songs and they become Radiohead songs, and that's when they sort of, or there will be an electric, like the gloaming and backdrifts are pretty much fully formed on a laptop, having used sounds that Colin or Johnny had originally processed or whatever. So it's kind of, this was the whole thing about this album was to try and, you know, work as quickly as possible. So rehearse it well, play them in live, record them quickly, and that's very, very, very basic way.
Right. And you play, because that's quite an interesting thing. You have played some of the tunes out live beforehand.
Yeah.
Were there any that you came away from playing them just thinking, no, it's just not working, or changed drastically having played them live to the crowd?
Well, the problem is we've normally recorded them on the album by then, and then we go and play them live, and we sort of change them. But that's good, you know. I realised this like 2 weeks ago. It's like the way we do records. They're like it's like a flow of things. It's not like we do a record and it's a definitive version of every single song. It's part of the whole process. It's like a sort of photo album when we were in Spain and Portugal last year before we recorded at Ocean Way, and then it comes on to become like our passport to take us around when the record's released. So it's part of like the whole picture, you know, the whole thing of what we do.
Excellent. Phidias from Canada asks, in reviews, now a lot of people have asked questions along these lines, for your more recent albums, there's often a comparison back to OK Computer and comparing every song to, is this better than OK Computer? Does this affect writing? Does it make you want to try and make something better, or do you just go and do what feels right for you and ignore all of that?
You have to do what feels right for you. I mean, all we've ever done is made records that it was John Leckie who produced the Bends, and he said, you know, what a record is, it's an aural, you know, snapshot of where you are at that particular given time, and that's all we've ever done. And you know, I think there was, you know, after OK Computer, certainly the whole, when we were making Kid A and we decided to withdraw a lot and, you know, just make this record in Kid A, was that there was it felt like a huge sort of a huge burden. But now it's kind of, I mean, personally speaking, I think the best records that we I always think the last record you make is the best, but, you know, in terms of the purity, I think Kid A is probably the most pure record that we've made. So, but that doesn't, I'm not, you know, I know people who think that the Bends is the best record we've made, so it's not like, you know, it's a nice position, it's a nice thing now to think that you make a record as good as the ones that you've made before.
Right. Excellent. Now, I know you rehearsed all the tracks and for about 6 months, and then you went out to LA, didn't you? How did that come about? And do you like it in LA? Because I don't look at you guys and think LA kind of people at all. I personally not a big fan of LA, but I don't know many people out there and stuff like that. So and obviously your recording is very different.
It gets bad press, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, it does. I mean, the thing is that I think we were worried that we may go out there and sort of, you know, you think that you spend any more than 2 weeks there and you'll be riding Harleys and hanging out with
that would be something.
Billy Idol, you know. But obviously, we're not going to do that. It was very good, wasn't it? It was.
What was it? Tell us about the studio where you're recording at then. Or is it? What's it called?
Ocean Way.
Ocean Way.
It's on Sunset and Vine. It's where Lionel Hampton put Nat King Cole in after he discovered him on a small club in the 50s, and it has these brilliant black and white shots of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, Judy Garland all singing together, you know, in this room. It's beautiful, like old brown lino, you know, old acoustic tiny hole tiled walls, sticky out sort of glass control room with dark wood stain surrounds, and really funky and beautiful and brilliant and big.
Do you kind of feel that spirit when you're sort of performing in there then?
It's special.
Yeah.
And all the old German microphones from the late 40s, you know.
There's some real musos out there wetting themselves at the moment talking about German microphones. Me, go.
This big microphone. Well, like these ones, actually.
Yeah, these are quite archaic here, actually. At XFM, no, you're absolutely right. And the sunshine environment, I mean, does that help being out somewhere like LA where it's lovely and warm? Because, does that kind of make you go in?
Well, it does. I think it really does. I think that, just the very fact that, you're in the sunshine and, you know how your body feels in the sunshine, you feel a little less uptight, you've got a bit more oil in your hips and, and all that. And it's good for us, where do you, I think Radiohead, it's like, well, what's the next challenge? Well, where do you record them? Record them in the sunshine, see what happens.
Yeah. And it was good.
Yeah, it was great. We were there for we had 14 days booked and we worked 13 of them, which is something of a miracle for us. And it was just a track a day, and it was really fun. It was the first time we'd actually gone into the studio and had fun and done a track a day. And
excellent. That was a question for you. Actually, a lot of people saying was this a more pleasurable album to make? Did you enjoy it more? Is that because you've done a lot of stuff before and now you can sort of relax back into it, or is it because you did a slightly different process of recording? Or
yeah, I think it's because we got the hard parts out of the way when we were doing Kid A and Amnesiac. I mean, for me, in some ways, this kind of it concludes part of that process that we started at the beginning of Kid A.
Right.
And so we, cleared the decks of an awful lot of things during that time. And by this point, by the time we got into Ocean Way, I think there's a confidence amongst us which just hadn't been there before. And I think from there, everything flows from there. Then, you do good recordings, that makes you feel happy. And generally, we're just getting on much better than we ever had.
Excellent stuff. Well, she'll talk some more. Now, I'm hoping, have we brought any... we're going to have a break, and I think you've brought some B-sides in for us, haven't you? Because we really want to play something off the album, but we can't yet, can we?
Can you not?
No, well, no, apart from they're there. No, I think we still can't play. Look, you see, Ed didn't agree that... No, the record company man, he's saying no, but we do have some B-sides to play. You're going to have to wait until you can hear John Kennedy talking the album through with Tom, which I think is going out next week on the show. But some B-sides coming out, and we will talk more to Phil, Ed and Colin from Radiohead after this break.
XFM. On DAB, digital radio.
We are talking to Phil, Ed and Colin from Radiohead. We're going to get through more and more of your questions. There's so many. There's an absolute stack here. I've noticed that probably the reason that Colin and Phil haven't answered that many questions is their eye, got one eye sort of slightly on the computer there reading your emails through. So we'll try and get through as many of those as we can. But first of all, we'd like to play something. Now, we can't play anything else off the album, which we're gutted about, but we will be patient. We will wait like everyone else. But you have brought a couple of B-sides with us. Do you want to tell us about the first one, Colin?
Yeah, the first one's called Paper Bag Writer, and Tom did it in LA, I think, and we did some drums on it in London, and it's just a bit of fun, really, I suppose.
Okay.
104.9 in London, online at xfm.co.uk.
This is XFM.
So, coming up in the next hour of the show, we talk more to Ed, Phil and Colin from Radiohead and asked lots more of your questions, plus 3 songs somebody loves, Eddie's going to recommend, and what you thought was the ultimate Radiohead song. Music also on the way from Thrills, Simeon and Juan. First of all, it's just gone 6. Here's the news on XFM.
Good afternoon, and this is the news. As Tony Blair flies into the Middle East to meet up with UK troops in Iraq, he's wading into a row set off by the US, because they're now saying, after all we said, we may not now find weapons of mass destruction. The US Secretary of State says, come on, we tried.
It's hard to find things in a country that's determined not to have you find them.
Could mean some red faces in Washington and London.
Will be quite severely politically embarrassing if they now have to step down and say, well, actually, these weapons were not ready to go within 45 minutes.
A report out tonight on drug crime figures claims more than a quarter happened in just 3 London boroughs. Nearly 9,000 crimes were committed last year just in Westminster, Lambeth and Haringey. Vandalism didn't cause the Potters Bar rail crash. That's according to a third official report into the accident. The latest findings, out tomorrow, are again expected to blame a points failure. Public confidence in the media, already low, is continuing to slip. Only 36% believe news organisations get the facts straight. And in music news, reports of Jeremy Ward, the multi-instrumentalist with Mars Volta, has died of a suspected drug overdose. Full details online at xfm.co.uk.
XFM Travel with O2. See what you can do.
Now the travel. Public transport, that looks good. Out in on the roads even. Out in Romford, an accident on Chase Cross at the junction with Lower Bedfords Road and Havering Road has caused big delays. And on the A40, it's very slow westbound between the Northern Roundabout and Western Avenue Park Royal.
XFM Travel with O2. Download Atari arcade games for your mobile at o2.co.uk.
London's weather. Tonight, mild, clouding over, down to 14 or 57, whichever currency you go in. Tomorrow, sunny, very warm.
Hey! Fantastic! The 6 o'clock news today, as read by Radiohead's Phil Selwyn. First time he's ever done that, very good. Mike, does he get a job?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Have mine anytime.
We can do a swap. You're only good at playing the drums.
Oh, I'll start.
Right, now, we asked everybody what their favourite Radiohead track was, what was the ultimate track. We then got into a fight because basically everybody voted for everything. Yeah. And so we decided that we'd play this one because we love it. Okay, so there was a bit of an argument over which was the ultimate Radiohead track, and we had so many entries that it was quite difficult to take a poll, so we chose that one, and there'll probably be more rows about that later on. We are joined today, of course, by Phil, Ed and Colin from Radiohead. We've got so many more questions to get through. Ben, Jeff and Lena, lots of people ask this question. They want to know, do you understand all of Tom's lyrics, or does he have to explain them to you?
Yeah, he explains them to us in words of no more than one syllable.
Right, and then you understand.
Then I understand, yeah.
Excellent, that's perfect. Looking you guys up on the internet yesterday, right, I came across, was it 750,000 sites relating to you? But the reason I was looking was I was trying to look for your diaries, Ed, but you stopped doing them.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, the whole thing about the diary was that you do it as a kind of, and you don't think that online, you do it at the end of each night, you don't realise that
people are
reading it. And then the whole thing, if you start writing if you continue writing or write a diary being self-conscious, the diary isn't a diary anymore.
Right.
So it had its time, and it's
right. Not something you're going to carry on. Do you ever wish, another question asked by lots of people, do you ever wish you could be in more of your videos and get Tom to do more press?
No, I think we've got the balance just right, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah. Videos, it's like...
We haven't been in a video since, when was it?
Well, before Paranoid Android, wasn't it, I suppose?
It was off the Bends.
It must have been the Bends.
Street Spirit.
But you're quite happy with it being like that?
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. On the subject of videos, Chris Jackson asks, and he says, I know you must get asked this a lot, but what does the guy say at the end of the Just video?
Well, there's some lip readers from Canada said it was something about eating banana yogurt, but I'm not. That's the best I know. So
right. Okay, so even you can't answer that question.
No, I can't read.
Sorry about that, Chris. Anna says, now the last time Blur were on XFM, they said they were still waiting to sit down and have a game of bridge with you. Is this something you think is likely to happen?
Well.
Do you play bridge?
Well, we used to. When we toured America for the first time in '93, it was actually we sort of. I don't know why, but we did. We played bridge and it was fun or whatever. But we stopped and you bumped into Alex, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah.
Who offered you out over a game of.
That's right. I wanted to see if we could deal it like we talk it and get together for a rubber, but we just haven't got round to it yet.
Right. Okay. So it is something that could still happen.
Possibly.
Yeah, look at your face there. Stuart says, Hybrid did an excellent remix of Everything in Its Right Place. Any more remixes planned? And have you tried remixing? Any of you?
We've just had... We're sending out some of the songs to people we like the music, the people like Christian Vogel and Kieran from Fortet. He's just done a remix of Scatterbrain from the album, which is wonderful. And he toured with us actually on some of the dates. It was wonderful. And his new album, Rounds, is fantastic.
Perfect. Right. Have you heard the Darkness cover of Street Spirit? Have you heard the band The Darkness?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard their cover of Street Spirit? Lots of people asking.
I know someone was talking about that today, weren't they?
Okay, maybe we'll try and get you a copy of that. It's rather special. Are you looking forward to Glastonbury? This has been a common question. And Peter asks, what do you think of it selling out in record time? And will you be sticking around to see other bands? A lot of people asking, are you nervous about headlining Glastonbury?
I mean, we played the last time we played it was in '97, and it was the most terrifying experience of our playing career. You know, it was really, it was very scary. But I think this time it would be just good to enjoy it, because we didn't enjoy last time, and it was.
Really, just through the fear and technical problems.
It was technical problems and all those silly little things, but it was an amazing experience nonetheless. You know, when you look out and it looks like apocalypse now out there, and it's amazing. So to be to be able to actually enjoy it this time would be good. So.
Excellent. And will you stick around to see some of the other bands?
Yeah.
We've seen before. Excellent. Do you camp, or are you coming on a bus and then you leave?
Sorry?
Do you camp?
I just read
we always camp, my dear.
One of the messages on here says you should play a lot more Radiohead, not just when they're on the radio.
Thank you very much.
Take exception to that.
Yes, that's right. We're going to get into a fight now. Now, Ed, you've been going through some of the email questions there.
Yeah.
You picked out some that you'd quite like to answer.
There was a Glastonbury one.
Right.
Are you scared about headlining?
Right.
So we've answered that one. Colin, what bands do you respect the most for their musical integrity or just kicking for ass? And this is from Justin S.
Bands that I respect?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's a nightmare question, isn't it? I don't know, Booker T and the MGs. I don't know, stuff like that.
Good answer.
Fortet.
Well, yeah, sort of, yeah. Soul bands, yeah.
Okay. What about Phil? What are you liking?
Bands that I respect. Fortet, again, I mean, generally bands that come out and play with us, actually. You have to admire them for doing that.
Is it a tough thing to tour with you guys, do you think?
It's a nightmare. We really put them through it, don't we?
No sound check.
No.
Pay to play. You know, all the usual stuff.
It's like the rock garden, isn't it?
Exactly.
Listen, Marcia from Slovenia asked, your videos and visual art fit very well with with your musical mood. Do the ideas come from you, or do you use a particular artist? And is the art as important to you as your music?
The artist that we use is Stanley Donwood, who was at Art College with Tom, and he's done the artwork since the cover of the Bends, and it's incredibly important, really. He works in the studio with us when we're recording, so, you know, you've got the artwork and the music, it's all very interrelated, and, you know, you get, if you're having difficulty at any particular point, you can go and see what Dan's done, and kind of make sense of what's actually going on musically as well. So, yeah, it's very important that it's all coming out of the same place.
Right. Okay. Sam says, you've done so many interviews. What's the worst question to be asked? And is there a question you wish people would ask you that they don't? That's a good tip for me here, I think.
The worst one, I mean, we on this record, it's been just because the album title, people think that we're being anti-American or whatever. So you pick up on a lot of the anti-American sentiment, you know, that there is at the moment, and so they're kind of going, so you're really anti-American, and it's like, no, whoa, you know. So that's been the most annoying one, kind of defending the title or whatever.
Do you think you've kind of cleared that up now? Do you think people understand
so.
now?
I mean, the thing is, I was saying to a journo today, is that what happens is it's like the rumour mill. Somebody says something and they all pick up on it in some gossip or some music paper, and so they never actually go to the source of what has actually been said. So people have opinions about things that they, you know. So, you know, suddenly this is a record, you know, you get the whole thing thrown back at you like, so you're a miserable bunch of bastards again, that sort of thing. And it's like, well, have you read the lyrics? Have you? No. Well, why didn't you try oh, okay, I'll read the lyrics, you know. So, those kind of things.
Somebody did actually ask a question on the email earlier, which is the most ridiculous rumour that you've heard about the band, or about people you're working with, or have there been any where you've just been gobsmacked when they've come back to you?
There was that one with Godspeed You Black Emperor, wasn't there?
What was that?
There was something about we offered them out or something.
Oh, right.
Really?
No. There was something about what was it about?
Wasn't it that they were going to be working with you, or you were going to be collaborating?
Oh, that's right, collaborating with Godspeed You Black Emperor.
I read that myself. There you go.
That'd have been a cheery duet, wouldn't it?
Oh,
fantastic.
That's a regular theme, isn't it? People offering you out.
They're not the fighting type. I don't believe that. Yeah. What websites do you frequent if you do lots of stuff on the computer? That's another. Why are you all looking around shiftily? Do you have any favourite websites? That's what lots of people have asked.
Well, there's if I need to find out what we're doing, like there's fan websites to check out, like Green Plastic and aesweb.com, because they're very good to find out what's going on.
Okay. There's not particularly ones that you would... I think this was from lots of people who love the internet going, oh, have you seen things that they might like?
I'm
you don't use it that much.
On that.
You don't use it that much. And Phil, running the marathon. I've just taken up jogging. I can only do 20 minutes. Really? Should I give up now? Would you ever do it again?
Probably not, no.
Really?
It was amazing doing it, but it's not natural, is it?
Not running that far. What time did you finish it in?
I was running the same year as Paul Radcliffe won it for the first time, and I came in after her. I'll say that much.
Excellent. Now, I know you've got another little treat for us, another B-side to Players, which I think is going to be the B-side for the next single, Where Bluebirds Fly, I believe it's called. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I think it's we had it. I think it was some music that Tom did on his laptop. I think, if I'm right. And we had it every time you hear it, our hearts quicken and we get a bit jumpy because we had it as our coming on music for a year and a half. So I think
we still
do as well.
I noticed.
This is Where Bluebirds Fly. This radio. There you go. Where Bluebirds Fly. It's going to be B-side to. So, okay, what is the next single going to be?
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. And have you been really chuffed with the sort of the reaction generally to the album? And obviously, people coming to see the gigs. A lot of them haven't heard the new stuff.
But a lot of them have.
And a lot of them have at the same time. But has the reaction been good? Are you pleased with how it's been received so far?
Personally speaking, don't read any reviews or anything, so don't know how it's been received. But I mean, in terms of what people and the vibe in the gigs has been great.
Yeah. What are you two laughing at? You two, Phil and Colin is at the end of the desk reading your emails.
My brother Johnny, he'd sorted out the music before the gigs, and that took much controversy. And somebody sent a message saying, "Can you ask them what was with the bloody reggae music they subjected fans to before the gigs last week? We nearly had to pay someone to get it stopped."
Is it that bad?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, You see, that's the other thing, isn't it? I think it's quite nice that the band, when you go and see, because I often stand there thinking, I wonder if the band choose the music that gets played before. You do. Excellent.
Yeah.
And Johnny puts it all there. That's a good thing. Right, this was quite a good email from Paul, who says, quite heavy, how do you feel about the current state of the record industry, and how do you reconcile the fact that your records are released by a corporation that fixes album prices and prevents a lot of good music from being heard by the public? Do you agree with that? Do you not? What do you think about the state of the record industry at the moment?
Well, the record industry is obviously fucked, isn't it? I mean, it really is. So,
do you want me to add that to your beat?
He
does news and acts as a beat.
And you know, we actually say about EMI, we've done 6 albums with them, and they've been brilliant. Parlophone, our label, and the same people have been with us for a long time, and they've been absolutely amazing, and they've been part of, us growing up and being a band.
So no complaints.
No complaints from them.
And people saying that you were on a 6-album deal.
Yeah.
And so some people saying, where are you going to take it from here? Do we still release?
Our whole thing is like, when we finish touring, we don't know where our heads will be. We don't know where the music industry will be. So we'll just decide what we want out of our next deal and whether it's conducive with.
Matthew saying after Johnny's Body Song, any more solo projects going to be going on? I know that there was the Neil Finn supergroup. It was fantastic. Any more collaborations planned at the moment, or are you just busy on this album and touring?
That's really where our heads are at the moment, because this is going to go on for about a year now.
Excellent. And you're looking forward to getting out on the road, living proper around the world?
Yeah, once you get over this next month is all the bit where it's all a bit leery, and we have to keep our heads down, and then we just get out to, because we play, that's what we do, and once this next month's gone, we'll be sort of. Yeah. And
how do you cope with the family thing, going out on the road? Like you Phil, do the family come out and see you, or do they stay home, or do you have a creche on tour?
It's not easy. They're coming out to some dates, but the road's not a place for a family. But it isn't, and. But the way we've set things up for this year is that we're not out for great long stretches. We're out for a couple of weeks at most, and then we're back home for a couple of weeks. So I think that's the compromise that we make there.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us today. I'm sorry I didn't get through all the questions. There were so many. But I do think that boys have chosen a song each, I believe, for our 3 songs that we love. Have we found them? Have we managed to find the choices?
We're in the process of finding them now.
Right now. Wish you all the best with the album. And if you want to hear the album played out in its entirety, John Kennedy will be talking to Tom. When's that going out?
Next week.
That actually goes out next week. I'll bound more and more.
3rd of June.
And,
3rd of June, sorry.
In the meantime, thank you very much, boys, for coming in today.
Yeah.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Cheers. XFM.